The playoffs are upon us, and as such, we will be getting into our personal playoff brackets. They will be displayed round by round right above our heads. And I would like to hear you kick things off. It will be starting off with the AFC side. In the wild card round, we've got the Broncos at the Bills.
Yeah, Broncos at Bills. We've got a very strong showing from the Bills all year long with MVP candidate of Josh Allen. Great interception ratio for him. And it's hard to not pick the number 2 team that was able to knock off the number 1 team during the regular season. The Broncos, we've each had our critiques of the whole Sean Payton offense. And while I do think that the Sean Payton offense will continue this, mild to high level of success it's had, when that crunch time happens, am I going to go Bo Nix is going to lead a game-winning drive, or is it going to be the Bills with Josh Allen? So Bills, easy pick for me here, especially despite the level of defense that, the Bills is kind of petering off with some injuries, and the Broncos has been a steady, maintained success. Pat Surtain holds it down. I'm still going to be going the Bills here. I don't think this upset happens.
No, I don't either. I'm also taking the Bills here. And basically same reason as you. I don't love the Sean Payton offense. I've made that pretty well known over the season. And I think that it does fall off at some point. And, we've seen Bo Nix go deep a couple times, and it's worked out okay. But the Bills are just too high-powered of an offense. The Broncos are not yet ready to compete, I don't think, at that level at least. But then we get into an AFC North matchup, which is really cool. We get the Steelers at the Ravens. And this one I'm pretty easily taking the Ravens. It's the Mike Tomlin Steelers. They looked really good really early on, and we were like, oh my gosh, are they finally going to separate themselves from this constant 500 battle that they're fighting where they're just barely winning, no losing seasons. But no, they didn't. They dropped back down to 10-7. So, it's a solid season, but it's right par for the course for Mike Tomlin, where Lamar is having an MVP type season and carrying not carrying the Ravens, but taking the Ravens to where they're at right now. And I don't see him losing this one.
Yeah. And an explosive offense in the Ravens, whereas the Steelers, I feel, have had some issues be brought to the forefront. And it's hard when those issues are exposed late in the year and you're heading into playoffs when it really matters for that stuff to be on tape. So Ravens here as well. And then I head into the final AFC matchup of the wild card round, and we've got the Chargers playing at the Texans, and I've got the Chargers winning this one. I think the Texans are hurting. They've gone through a slew of injuries, and they're just not the same team they were last year with the offensive line shuffling every damn week. It feels like the Chargers, they run a very hardball brand of football, and I think that they are going to win in what could be a tight matchup, what could be a real separating matchup for the Chargers. It's just hard to tell what Texans we're going to get. Regardless of the Texans we get, I think that the Chargers win it.
Yep, we are perfect. Same bracket so far. I've got the Chargers as well. I think that like you said, the Harbaugh brand of football, it's a playoff winning brand. And the Chargers defense is really good. And when the Texans have some question marks on offense, not in firepower, but in consistency, I think the Chargers will take advantage of that. And then, Chargers offense, they're going to pound the rock. And J.K. Dobbins is healthy now, or healthier now. He's playing. So they're getting healthy at the right time. And I think that's a good sign going into the playoffs. And Quentin Johnston just came off a crazy game. I don't know if you realize what his stat line was last game. He had like 10 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns or something like that.
Damn. Jeez.
Yeah. Like,
finally
it was
a resurgence
crazy.
for TJ.
Yeah. But we can get on to the NFC side of things, where we've got the 7-seed Packers taking on the 2-seed Eagles. And in this one, I'm going to take the home team Eagles. I like the Packers a lot. I think this is a much closer matchup than the 7 versus 2 seed on the other side. But I think Saquon is just so good, and he fits perfectly into that Eagles offense, and they've really, really turned things on to end the year. A bit of a slow game this past weekend because everybody was sitting, but outside of that, they've been great.
Yep. I'm agreeing with you. I've got the Eagles winning this one. It feels like the Packers, as the season went on, you saw more of Jordan Love kind of being like a little bit of a klutz with the ball, some riskiness that isn't always necessary, given like score position on the field. And I feel like the Eagles are just like, they are the Ravens of the NFC with like a combo of I would say Jalen Hurts is playing, better than he has been. And we got Saquon as the lead back and he's gone off. So I've got the Eagles in that one. Then we head to what to me is the hardest to predict matchup. This is the Commanders playing the Bucs in Tampa Bay. I don't know what to make of this because the Bucs have been that up and down team that it feels like sometimes they will be this super like just high flying offense. You got Mike Evans out there and Baker has been dicing up some teams. But then on the same side, you've got Jaden Daniels. You've got this huge, great offense that they've managed to have this season versus seasons past with other teams that they've constructed. I'm going to go with the Commanders in this one because of that pure game-winning ability late in the game. They somehow always put it together. So if it comes down to that and, they have 35 seconds and they need a field goal, they need a touchdown, there's a chance it'll happen. We've seen it happen. So I'm going Commanders in this one. But, man, the Bucs at home in the playoffs, it's hard to bet against.
Yeah, I think this is one of the toughest matchups because we don't know which team we're getting for either side on any given week. It could be the amazing, crushing Buccaneers that we've seen. It could also be the Bucs that can only put up a touchdown and a couple field goals, and that's all they can do. I'm also taking the Commanders. I think it's a little less close than probably you do, but it's because I feel like the Commanders are the same every week, even if they are a little jarring in the fact that they can't turn things on until the second half. But the Bucs are they're a very boom or bust team, whereas the Commanders are just consistently, let me wait. Okay, let's go. And I guess I take consistency over the possible crazy output from the Bucs, but I could definitely see the Bucs taking that one if the right team shows up. And then we get into the 4 and 5 seed, the 5 seed 14-3 Vikings taking on the 4 seed Rams. It's been a great season for the Rams. It's been a great turnaround. It's wonderful, Shout out the Rams. They're not winning this one though. I'm going to go ahead and take the Vikings to beat them in LA. It's an away game, but in LA it's not really an away game. So I think that the better team will play and will prevail here. No real home field advantage for the Rams, unfortunately.
Yeah. The Rams don't have a home field advantage. I can agree with that. The Vikings just lost in the worst way they've lost. And as I kind of said with the Steelers and Tomlin and, putting things on tape, putting on how to beat you on tape, I think the Rams are going to watch this Lions game and try their damnedest to match that exact defensive style. Like, yes, the Lions very much run man heavy, so we were able to confuse them by actually running zone for a damn game. I think the pressure that was put on Sam Darnold is going to be the breaking point in this game. If Sam Darnold has a clean pocket, it's going to be a Vikings win. If he doesn't, it'll be a Rams win because Stafford is still an elite quarterback. I'm going to take the Rams in this one. If for no other reason, we got to diversify this. We can't pick the same teams the whole way through. We got to have something different. So I'm picking the Rams on this one.
Okay. Now, this is where it's going to get a little funky because these are going to be our divisional predictions, which will be different because you've taken the Rams where I've taken the Vikings. Now, on your board right now, it does have the Rams playing the Eagles, right? So it's the same.
Yeah, it's just a swap. Same position, same matchup, just different team.
Okay. Well, AFC side is going to be the exact same. You can already see our picks, obviously, above us. You see who we've selected to win, but stay here. Listen to us talk about why. I'll kick off the first matchup of the AFC, which is the Chargers at the Chiefs. As much as I really don't want them to win, I can't bet against the Chiefs come playoff time. I was gonna stop at like 4 or 5 reallys, and then I just kept going. I'm sorry. Really, I am sorry. um, yeah, take away the rest of that discussion, please.
Yeah, I've got the Chiefs in this one as well. Arrowhead is probably one of the hardest places to play at in the playoffs ever, maybe. Um, and then we've got the Chargers, who they they're the Chargers. It's that brand of offense. These are two West Coast style offenses. They're just going to kind of take what they can, get down the field. But in these matchups, the Chiefs have won more often than the Chargers. This is going to be a third matchup between these two teams for the season. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Then, a very interesting matchup of the Ravens playing the Bills. This one's very tough for me because, on one hand, Bills, elite, great. This is going to be the two MVP candidates playing each other before they announce the MVP winner. So we'll see. It's not going to be impacted by the winner of this game, and we'll see if maybe the MVP goes to the loser of the game. But it's very difficult for me to pick one or the other. It's a flip of the coin, in my opinion. It is in Buffalo, and that is an insane, like, just environment to play in. So I'll be taking the Bills in this one, and that will set up for a very interesting conference championship. But in my heart, I want the Ravens to win this one. And I'll get
Yeah,
onto that
I
after you tell your thoughts.
I have the Ravens winning this one actually.
All right.
I mean, they already played head to head. Ravens won that one. So I think that it is smart to pick the Bills because they have the tape. They know how they were beaten before, and maybe they can use that to their advantage. But the Ravens already know what it's like to beat the Bills. And it's not as like, yeah, Buffalo's an insane place to play at no matter who you are. But I think it's less insane when it's another top team in the AFC who's from the North. So you're not really dealing with a crazy like Miami to Kansas City in -20-degree weather where it's like you're going from it's like a 90-degree shift from 70 to -20. So I don't see it as that crazy for the Ravens, and I think the Bills are great, but it's the Josh Allen show, and he's making the plays. And if the Ravens have already beaten the Josh Allen show once, they can do it again. I'm convinced that it's not like if you have beaten the Bills, you know how to beat the Bills, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that argument. And, I think honestly with it's weeks ahead, right? So we don't know what injuries are going to be happening, but there could be a big injury that happens in the wild card. It could be that, big injuries happen, but the injuries that have been lingering for the Bills continue to linger and they continue to eat away at them and they lose this game. But I'll stick with my guns. You've taken yours. I'll go ahead and I'll intro into the NFC side of the bracket here because it's my team. It's home field advantage for the number 1 seed Lions. I have them winning this game because kind of regardless of the winner of, well, it would change the matchup with the Bucs or the Washington winning, but playing against Washington when like, okay, there is that little bit of flukiness. They only turn it on late versus the Lions who kind of pedal to the metal. It's the whole game. It's the Dan Campbell way. I think that, the fans are definitely insane at these games. So I've got the Lions winning this one. I don't think a rookie going on the road into Ford Field will outperform the way that the Lions have played at home all year.
Yeah, I agree. Lions over Commanders for sure. I think that the Commanders are giving me very strong Texans last year vibes where they are overperforming. They are doing very well. They were supposed to be in a rebuild, but they hit on their draft pick and it's looking good for them. So getting anywhere in the playoffs is a huge win for Commanders fans, and to lose to the number 1 seed, I think is a very honorable way to go. But this is where we say bye-bye to having the same bracket, because you had the Rams winning, which means the Vikings are not part of your bracket anymore. but I have the Vikings at the Eagles, and I'm going to take the Vikings in that one as well. I think we're going to end up getting an NFC Championship rematch of the Week 18 matchup of the Vikings at the Lions, and I I just don't see a way that the Eagles can keep it up. I think they've done great. They've done very well this season. They've outperformed your expectations of them because you're a classic big Eagles hater. You hate them. You hate their guts. You want them to be trash. And they just haven't been. They've been the second best team in the they've been the third best team in the NFC. And for that reason, I think that the Vikings are the better team. And even if they are the 5 seed, they have the better record. And it's just because they're in the same division as the Lions, which sucks. But yeah, I'm taking the Vikings in this one.
Yeah. And now onto my diverged timeline. I've got the Rams playing the Eagles. And, if the Vikings did win, I do see them beating the Eagles. In your matchup, I do see that as a realistic expectation. However, I don't see the Eagles falling apart against, the Rams. I don't know what it is, but the Eagles don't feel like a team that will fall apart versus a Rams. That team that has really made a late season push, really gotten very lucky to be in this position that they are in. Because after all, they did tie the record for division leader. So there's some tiebreakers that happen for them to even be in the playoffs. I don't think that they're going to beat out the 2 seed there. And, I'm looking at my bracket. It's a little dry. I've got the 1 and 2 seed, and I've got the 1 and 2 seed. But, on your side, you've got 1 and 3, and then you've got the 1 and 5 who should be 2, and it's a whole little thing. So
yeah, I quickly changed the Eagles to being the 3rd best team in the NFC because I don't think they're better than the Vikings. But yeah, because you led into the NFC matchup there in your divisional round, I'm going to steal the lead into the conference championship round in the AFC side of things. I just think that's fair. So now above us, you see our picks for the Super Bowl. I've got the Ravens heading into Arrowhead, and for the first time in what feels like a long time, I will be picking against the Chiefs. I will be taking the Ravens to beat the Chiefs. They have not won in a convincing fashion all year. Sorry. They won a couple times in a convincing fashion all year, and every other win was in a very, very unconvincing fashion. So I think once they get tested with a true dominating team that has already played them and nearly won before, and now that there's more chemistry built between the players on the Ravens, whoever new is added, obviously Derrick Henry took a little bit to get him going. But if he can keep being healthy and if he can keep up what he's doing, I think he can help the Ravens take down the Chiefs and let us have a Super Bowl that doesn't have the Chiefs in it. Please, I beg. And so, yeah, I've got the Ravens there on the AFC side of things.
Yeah. Before I touch on what my alternate timeline matchup is, I will say I completely agree with Ravens over the Chiefs on your side of the bracket. That feels the Bills and the Ravens. I think the Ravens have a better chance at beating the Chiefs in this game. And now transitioning to my alternate reality, where the Bills are playing the Chiefs in that conference matchup. The Chiefs are playing at home. When they played in the regular season, it was in the heart of Bills Mafia. They're flipping the tables now, flipping the script, and playing on the invert. I have the Chiefs winning this one. It's that home field advantage, and it's the team construction itself. It's you lost to them once, you're gonna fight your hardest for the get back, and you've got all of the healthy pieces that have been gone coming back for the Chiefs, as I've kind of touched on as the year has gone on. They're getting healthier at a perfect time. So I think that the Chiefs are going to get this one and notch their ticket to their 3rd straight Super Bowl. And since I sold the NFC lead off, I'll let you lead off. Go ahead.
I was just gonna comment on your AFC Conference Championship matchup. I think your way of picking, top teams that have met in the regular season, typically the results will flip because the team that lost knows what they have to fix, and the team that won has to improve on what they already did, which I think can kind of be difficult. I think if you win a game in the regular season, you're kind of showing your cards and you're saying, this is how I'm going to beat you. And so you don't want to change that to try to be a different team. We saw the Ravens do that last year, and it really didn't pan out well for them when they just weren't running the ball. And that's why they lost in the playoffs last year. So I think that it's a smart thing to do to pick the losing team if it's a close loss. Pick the losing team from the regular season to win in the playoffs, and that's I kind of went against that with the Bills Ravens, but I feel like that's a little different because how you were talking about team construction and the Chiefs being more solidly built than the Bills, completely agree. I just think that the Ravens are also more solidly built than the Bills. So I feel like they have just the same amount, same chance as the Chiefs do at beating the Bills. But yeah, I'll lead us into the NFC. Your Lions at home against the Vikings. It's a rematch, and after going on that monologue about how the loser of the regular season matchup should win the rematch, not when it's a blowout. So I'm taking the Lions in this one to go to the Super Bowl and have a mirror image of what happened Week 18. I don't think it's a super novel concept to think that the Lions, who just put belt to ass against the Vikings, could do it again in the playoffs when it matters most.
Yep. And my alternate reality, I've got the Eagles playing at the Lions. Eagles are a scarier team in this game than the Vikings are. This worries me. How my bracket has fallen, this worries me. All right, if this happens, I'm worried. I'm concerned. However, I've got the Lions winning it. I think they're too hungry. It's too hungry of a team to fall short again. And this time you're playing in front of the home crowd. You've got so much atmosphere. You made someone jump off sides for the Vikings Week 18. The crowd has an influence.
Did you see the Amon-Ra Selly after that?
I did. I did see that.
Oh my God.
Homie did an Irish jig.
Yeah,
he was so happy about that.
Yeah.
But the crowd plays an influence. I've got the Lions winning this one, which sets up a very interesting Super Bowl. We both have the Lions in it. I will say that this will probably be the closest matchup, out of my bracket for the Lions. And I think out of your bracket for the Lions, who they're playing against. The Eagles-Lions is a nightmare matchup. And it's mostly because of our injuries on defense.
Yeah.
But
so do you want to get into your Super Bowl prediction first?
I'll get into my you led off twice in a row. I'll lead off into my Super Bowl, which is the 3-peat attempt from the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. Two teams that at that point of the year, who at that point of the year are probably, hopefully, going to be healthier. Possible Aiden Hutchinson. A lot of possibles for, the Chiefs. It depends on how they play in the playoffs, who gets hurt additionally, because the Lions are probably going to lose an additional 5 guys in the 2 games leading up to the Super Bowl.
I was going to say everything in this bracket is subject to change after one injury.
Yes. One, that's all it takes. But I've got the Lions winning the Super Bowl because beating a 3-peating attempt from the Chiefs, the most hated team in the NFL, feels like a nice poetic story for the Lions to pull out against. When the Lions, they fell apart in the NFC Championship last year. They should have been in this exact game 1 year prior.
Yeah. I have the Lions winning the Super Bowl over the Ravens. I think it's really close, though. And the only reason that I think that it will go to the Lions instead of the Ravens is because they'll have Hutch back. If they don't, if his recovery's delayed, if it's literally any other team in the NFC, Ravens win. Because I truly think that the Lions struggle mightily against mobile quarterbacks. It is something that is very well documented that this Lions team cannot beat mobile quarterbacks. It's something that we talk about it a ton because it was first noticed with Justin freaking Fields on the Bears. They had trouble containing him, and we see where he is now, and it's like, okay, so you just cannot beat mobile quarterbacks. And I guess for that reason, the Commanders matchup would scare me a little bit just because of Jaden Daniels. But to me, I think that this means too much for the Lions it means a lot for the Ravens, but they've been here before many, many times. Like they've been top of the AFC or, leading the AFC North so many times. They know what they're doing, but it doesn't mean as much. I don't think the players for the Lions, it's not that the players for the Ravens won't care. They will, obviously, any player would, but it's just it's a need. It is it's like air or water. The Lions need this Super Bowl. So they're going to do whatever they can to get it. Again, barring any injuries.
Yeah. Man, those damn pesky injuries.
Yep.
And I touched on your bracket a handful of times. So Ravens probably do beat the Lions here because we run so heavy man that it's easy for the quarterback to be unaccounted for in man coverage. Although I think Aaron Glenn has kind of wisened up to that in the past year, he's certainly played running and rushing quarterbacks better. Spies, Lamar's too fast for a quarterback spy. That's just the truth of the matter. It's too difficult to run that against him. So it'd be more of like, oh, keep him in the pocket, don't let him run. And then that's what this season has been for Lamar, was saying, look, I can do good when I'm in the pocket. Watch this. So yeah. I hope it goes my bracket's way. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I think I would enjoy a Ravens-Lions Super Bowl so much more because I wouldn't care the outcome. I'd be happy either way because either it cements Lamar as a Hall of Fame quarterback, first ballot Hall of Famer, or it's the fun, loved by all Lions winning a Super Bowl, being the first cat team to win a Super Bowl. Like I'm just happy either way. In your bracket, I'm watching that Super Bowl sweating and hoping the Chiefs don't three-peat. So I would much rather it go my way and end in a Lions victory over the Ravens or a Ravens victory over the Lions, but just somebody that's not the Chiefs, please, for the love of God. But with our brackets cemented, I will say that if you disagree with us, I would like you to go create a bracket. We used the Pro Football Network NFL playoff predictor.
Link in description. We'll put it
link in description for that. I'll throw it in. Yeah, I'll throw it down there. Make your brackets. Send them to us wherever you can on Twitter. Our Twitter is also linked in description. So send them to us on there, and we'll make a video reacting to playoff brackets after the first week and after everybody's is busted. But we'll see. But with that, I think we can sign off. We don't have a pick'ems this week because that was our pick'ems, and in future weeks, we'll tie it into the bracket as well. But Mr. FTP Elijah, do you have any words of wisdom for these people to lead or live their lives by?
Go Lions.
Go Lions. Good
Pray
words.
for Hutch's recovery. That's about it for me.
Deuces.
Deuces.